Right, welcome back to Nightingale's Motorcycle Restorers and Metal Finishers. A little bit different today. We've had a good weekend past just at Oliver's Mount Road Racing, and yeah, interesting, good weather, and all went away safe. So a couple of bikes in the paddock which I do some work for, was good to see. And also today's videos on about trials bike, motocross, enduro. We started doing a bit more servicing now, and some pitfalls on basic trials bikes when people buy them, what to look out for. I know the purists and the lads out there, mechanics, will be saying, what are you doing this for? But there's a lot of people who are getting fresh into it, and some basic stuff for them to look at, and tell you what we're up to on the side of some engine building with again, barrel exchanges or relining, plating and conrods kits and all that. So let's have a look in the workshop. So so we're on to trials bikes first. This is a Modena bike, Beta 300 two-stroke, coming for a service. Now, I always say with all the dealers and that out there who deal, one, I don't sell bikes, occasional bike, and two, I don't sell spares. And I've started doing more trials bike repairs and enduro bikes because they've been coming in. So when I say dealers, while I feel sorry for them, is because the person who trades one in, it's usually needs a little bit doing to it, to say the least. The guys who service them up at home and maybe ride them in competition more, because they're always changing tyres and pads and oil changes and carburetor cleans and maintaining it. But the average person who just kind of goes with the flow, they trade these in, and like this one, the word in for service. So what I said is, as with anybody what I do, I'll have a quick look at it, unless they're coming with a specific problem like fork seals or suspension pads. And there's a few type of people you've got to think who you know, if you're at home, you think, oh, I do that myself. I do. Well, yeah, you've probably got a bench, or you've got a garage, got tools. But there's people who haven't. They live in, you know, apartments. They don't have the luxury of having a workshop or a garage. They might have minimal knowledge on bikes, and or they're just busy, like most people. So yes, as I said, this one's coming for a service, but I'll tell you what I've done first with it after listening to the customer. So being a motorcycle restorer, you know, you're servicing bikes up, but I'm going back to the dealers, because like this one, if this was coming into me and someone's going to sell me it, and I look at its initial of it, and it looks quite good, you know. Obviously graphics it could do with a bit if you were going to, some rim tapes on it, but they're only cosmetic stuff. It might have had 10 or 15 of these, you know, rear mud guards, snap off so easy. And you look at it, so the tyres are off edge, so the corners are off them, and the front one looks like it's original. So it's well down. So if it was going out retail, or you're buying a bike, you can have a look at one. Usually the front tyres gives you an indication, because it hasn't been changed, it's done a fair few miles, as far as a trials bike does miles. So you'd be looking at a set of tyres. Chain and sprocket, you know, where it's taken back, how advanced it is. So chain without sprockets, you've got that to replace. And then you look at basic things like once you take it off and you're checking for wheel bearings, there's a bit in that one, it's not excessive. I've checked the up and down on the shock absorber. There's actually no play in that, it's probably been maintained fine. I should think it'll have had one on it. Front pads are good. Back one straight away, you can see that they're past 50%. There's not much meat on these to start with at this, you know, the little pads. Nothing at all, just a ceramic carbon. If you see how much meat there is, when we say meat, is the lining, the front bit. Different club events as well. You've got, you know, clay, different soils, everything, grit can wear them down, plus a rider. Might be heavy on the brakes, but yeah, so this was coming in again, so you go for a service, carb off, cleaned out, you'd have a look at it, plug, oil change obviously, some pads in it, check the levels, radiator because it's water cooled. But what I did first with this one, I just give it a quick start up, and it starts up well, it's clean, revving clean on the throttle, and it's got no nasty rattles from this top end, which is the biggest thing when you're going to look for a trials bike. And then I took it round the section round the back and had a go on it. Got it warmed up 5 or 10 minutes, and then the fan kicked in saying the regulator's working. That's a voltage from the electronic side which spins your fan up. Looked at the fan, it's had no nasty twists or turns, coolant looks good in it, and the oil I've drained out doesn't show like it's got any milkiness in it, which when you're looking at a bike you might have a look through the magic eye. We're looking for real white cloudy, if it's anything where water ingress has got into the oil. You can get a bit of a milkiness off this because we still have condensation as it gets hot and gets cold, so you know that's the oil what's come out of it. And when people drop the sump plug out, they'll go, there's no metallic objects on it. Well, to be fair with you, if you've got a bike a few year old like this, even though it's modern, and it's still pulling out iron filings in the bottom on that sump plug, then there probably is a problem. So that's what you got to listen for. Quietness, the rattles, the fan coming on is important because it's all money, suspension play, and then going through the bike, just as if you'd pre-MOT it, get the front wheel off and go for the forks on the steering head to make sure there's no play on these bearings. It's not maybe because it's hit a brick wall or a rock, it might just be years of someone hitting it with a pressure washer and obliterating the bearings. And then just go around the spokes, play it like an if you're pre-MOTing a bike. So you're just feeling the spokes and just give it an idea if it's running true. Because remember, these have hit so many things over the years. Just spin them. There's going to be a little bit, could even be the tyre off a little bit. But yeah, if they're good, just have a visual inspection. Again, the disc brakes, just check that they are heavily pitted or tram-lined. When someone's had the pads where the meats come right the way down, they get very hot quick, these little brakes, and it's all money if you're spending on it. So we'll go on to the next thing. So what I tend to do when someone says something comes in for a service, that's why I take it for a run, because I'm seeing, unless someone's, as I said at the beginning, a specific thing like your brake or your clutch, or you've got something wrong, or tyres, pads missing, carb needs cleaning. You've got to watch there ain't no hidden things, and this is the same if you go to buy one. So though you're excited to go and buy one, preferably just get a cold start with it, so if you touch the pipe when you go and visit them, they haven't been pre-warming it up. Not that these modern bikes suffer really from starting. The trouble is with them that it's like anything, this is a two-stroke, so you'll have a mixture of two-stroke oil and petrol which you'll mix up. 9 times out of 10 someone puts a bit in for luck, you shouldn't really. And over the years, and this front pipe and into these beaters especially, you get an heavy build-up of, you know, waste, carbon, and then these end cans to clean out. You can repack a lot of them, some of them you can't, and that's another thing to check, because if you can't repack it, when these things do get a build-up of waste in these pipes, they're very expensive to change. So if it's a bit raspy, it's usually the packing's gone, or it's thick and you can just repack it, a couple of screws. These end caps, what always usually do, because they've been flipped off many times. So you've just got to watch it. Go back to your dealers where they always get, I think they get a rough deal, is because taking a bike in, no matter who it is, you can be caught out. Something silly like that radiator doesn't come on, the fan, or the radiator's got a dent in it, so it's the replacement, because as soon as you sell it, the retail man will come back, even though it's a competition machine, it's goodwill with everyone. So time it goes through a bush kit, change sprockets, service, filter, pads, set of tyres, mechanics labour, and then a valeting and a decal kit. It's probably got 500 quid in it before it starts. So you know, that bike which you buy, which is like the adverts say, selling it because I've no time to use it anymore, buying house, kiddie on the way, usually knackered. It's there's no careful one lady owner Sunday after church riding these things, right? Occasionally you find the odd very nice one, you know, very nice one. And I think, as I say, the guys who ride them are probably the best at servicing. So we'll come back onto some basic servicing and just what you can do yourself. So right, I'll get off the depressing bits because you're excited about buying your bike and you bought it. And basically, if you've done them few things and you can accept, because tyres you can always replace, it's easy enough. But you don't want bad engine problems, or when we cross here to this kind of machine here, which is in a million bits, the crankshaft, the gearbox, and everything else we're assembling. When you come into this, you're starting to get into hundreds of pounds worth of parts and hundreds of pounds worth of labour. So your modern trials bike, you'll be a service kit if you can do some things yourself. You'll have a spark plug. You'll probably have a 24mm socket for your back chain adjustment. You'll keep the chain adjusted, and you might get to a point where you're changing some pads yourself. But really, the engine oil changing is a simple Allen key into the bottom. Drop your oil when the oil's warm, preferably. You fill it up at the side with the desired amount for that bike, and spark plug in it. And when you get a bit more brave, you'll end up taking a carburettor off. Now, the thing is, some of these bikes, no matter who you are, what you do, if you look behind me where you see one of my CBX 1000 carbs, this is when you're having real fun at cleaning carburettors. That's off my CBX 1000 6-cylinder, but they're still an absolute swine to take off. But some of these bikes are so precision made that the carburettor, even to put the choke on, you know, you're messing about. So when it comes to carbs and that, yeah, if it runs, fair enough. What I would say is, you know, the air filters are a big thing, usually sat in here, as you'll know, and there's questions always asked with it. I mean, you can use a solvent base to clean them. The only one on solvent based, of course, is turpentine. If you're a younger lad, that's what your dad used to wash his brushes out in. It's a cheaper way of doing it. Idea first, you take your filter out, soapy water, neutral detergent, washing up liquid, wring it out, dry it in a bucket to dry, over a bucket. Next day, a bit of turpentine, just a light, go over it, or you'll have one of these things, rattle can. Don't go far though, you just spray it, put it back in, and then that saves you messing about. But the cheaper way of doing it is turpentine. Put that back in. The other thing, I think, when you clean this housing out, because not only does it get the ingress of water, though the sealed mint, these bikes, it can get in on the dreaded pressure washer. Just wash your box and the lid out, just dry it out, and then spray it with a bit of WD-40. Because any particles you can stop getting through this filter, the next stop's down a tube and into your carburettor, especially if you're not into it as much for stripping them out, but that's its next stop. So it's not only dust getting in, usually one of the jets, the pilot jet, usually blocks up and you get all kinds of coughing, as if you'd gone through a lot of water and it had got an ingress of water in. Plus, after the carburettor, it's straight into the barrel, cylinder head, bore, and anything rough going through. But we're talking to get through this, if it's seated right, they're perfect, because that's what they're designed for. So apart from a bit of keeping your chain tension right, I mean, it's okay every time you go out on it. These are the usual stories. You see them blasting the chain with one of these, or there'll be an oil can, squirting the oil can round. And what I say is take your chain off occasionally, wash it out in soapy water. Well, the bike lives its life in water when you think about it. So wash it out, neutral detergent, get all the grit and crap out of it, and then just give it a spray with one ear or an oil can. And it just keeps it serviced up. As I say, I'll never change the chain, just change it. I'll do chain and sprockets, especially because some of the sprockets on these, 9 tooth, there's now on them. It's usually the front tooth you start to look like that. And just keep it all in balance, or otherwise you start getting clicking noises. And other good quality chain, usual sprockets, and you're on your way. So changing your oil, that's another thing what people tend to forget as well. When did you last change your oil? Well, I change it every 4 times. Usually in that same advert, what's for sale, selling it due to not being used, seems a shame, needs a new owner. Regularly changed every 3 times out. 3 times out. Don't have to be 3 times out. I mean, just kind of think to yourself, I've had a few good rides on it, drop the oil, put some new oil in it, for what it costs, it's a nerve centre. So they easily forget the timings with the oil. So we'll just move on to another thing on the cylinder head side. So we come back to this service thing, so I've had a go on it, and all I can really see at this stage, though you'd put that on an advisory sheet as much as you would an MOT, is you looking for things. It's easy to say someone brings it in for a set of pads, but you walk past it and you see the chain and sprockets hooked. But people only have so much money. If you've just bought it, you've spent money on the bike. I don't actually sell parts. I won't want 15, 20 grand in parts, make 20% on them, extra markup for but there's nothing in it for me. So the customer can even bring the parts into me, or I get them overnight anyway. And it's just a good way of doing it, because you never know what would come in, especially now I've moved over a little bit to motocross, enduro and trials bikes. So you could stock everything and you still won't have the right amount. Back to the cylinder heads. If this half needs to come off for replacement, there's 3 or 4 stages. Now, 3 or 4 usually is more motocross enduro, where they've had some serious problems upstairs. Might have even had on the crankshaft side, your piston goes to the top half of this. That's the big end, the small end bolts to this on a pin and a roller. And if it blows up downstairs, it might have had a nasty shunt. And these are the expensive parts. So really what you've got to watch out for, that's why I said when you check them over, them rattling or doing anything. Now, if you look in most service manuals, and it's crazy when you look, because this is another thing, hardly used, one owner, after church on a Sunday, little ride up the country lane, when really it's been going over skips, you look on average, say 80 to 100 hours use. Well, we all do it as we go. I only used it 5 times last year. That means 15. You'll start to lose a little bit compression. So on this scale of cylinder heads, what you've got is a rattle or no rattle, but performance seems down. So you just got to make sure, especially with 2 strokes, that we're clear to let it breathe. The inlet will throw it in, the exhaust, it needs to get it away. 2 strokes can start to be a bit of a major factor for slowing them down. So it's just down on power with a little bit of a ting ting ting. Now in here there's a small end bearing. Well, we used to replace them loads years ago, but modern bikes they don't seem to be such a thing. It'll either be worn rings or it's first stage. So there's a price to have it relined, or nickel plated I should say, and then the next stage is when it's been seized up, because there's different types of seizures. You could have a cold seizure, especially when you get these modern little bikes, because what you've got is people pull up to the local club, get out, they start up and you see them revving the bollocks out of it, and the expansion of the piston to the water jacket, it does happen, so you can get cold seizures, front end seizures. So that can be a nasty one, and that can be an expensive repair, or it might have had a slight nip, seizure, and you bought the bike, and all of a sudden you've got this expense. I mean, it's not a big job. It's radiator out, oil change fluid, and a gasket set, and a new head assembly. If it goes to the next stage where it's had a proper explosion in it, it might have even chipped a skirt, we can look at repairing that and getting that nickel lined again, plated. And what I tend to do is, not so much on these, but on an high competition machine. Now you've got to remember, sometimes these go back, a bit like the twin shock trial scene, but in the motocross scene, you've got a lot of high revving two strokes. And what I tend to do with them is I'd probably, because we do it in here, I'd probably ceramic coat that with an heat exchange coating to get it a little bit away. But for your bike itself, that's another service, the top end. So in the end of the world, but as I say, when you're buying one of these things, now I've rode this round, and as I said, you know, the customer's just brought in for a service, so that's why you ride it, to make sure when you get 10 minutes in coughing and spluttering, or we've got a bit of a water drip, the thermostat ain't coming on. Again, the linkage check, your bearings, chain sprockets to look at, and then the condition of the fork stanchions. The actual stanchions, just see, a lot of these coated ones have started to wear off in places, but watch for dings or anything. One of the most common things is the amount of people what want fork seals changing because they've got leaks. Now, people say that when they're on a trailer or in the back of the van and they ramp them down, you're putting pressure. Well, you are putting pressure on them, but you're also getting a lot of crap if they haven't got gaiters on. When you're you're pushing crap down into these seals. And I've said it before, the best thing you can buy yourself, I mean, I can make these out of a 5 litre tub, cut them down. It's just a seal, mate. So if you've got one seal leaking, you know, or two leaking, it usually tells a tale, but if there's one, you just simply put it in it, and you can do this at home like that. Push it round, straight out, bit of WD-40 on it, pull her out, and you've cleared your seal. You know, it's no point wasting money, because that's a set of seals. Probably don't need them. You know, this one was weeping when it come in. That's one thing you did notice. I've run it round it, I've taken it round the back, I've tried it, cleaned it out, a little bit of debris come out on that. We'll pump it a few times, and if it's clear, it's saved. I mean, you know, saved taking the wheel out, dropping the forks, seals, and putting new oil in it. So it's just money. It's just money and probably not necessary. So that's a good thing to get. You can just buy them off the internet. I'd buy them for any child's bike, you know, a motocross bike, straight round, simple fix. Another thing, what I always kind of get asked, you see a lot of the younger lads or some of the more trick riders tend to see them now even in the twin shock series, because if you can ride a bike, you can ride anything. So you might get one of our 40-year-old prehistoric things we build, and they come along, and as I say, most guys are sat there and they come in and they jump one forward. They're like a demented rabbit jumping up and down, and they haven't done out yet, but they're bouncing it round because they know they can. If such likes of me had a go at that, I'd be in A&E on a bloody defibrillator, you know, it'd be gone. So they can ride them, brilliant. But a lot of the riders, when they go back to these modern bikes on here, and you see the shock absorber and the linkage, because this linkage takes some hammer. I mean, this has got a guard on it which protects it being crushed, but the water ingress again, and the play on them. But 9 times out of 10, when you look at these and how they set them up, they probably never have been set up for the body weight, because you just go for a ride on it, you know. And then you get your next level where you change that shock, it's brand new, and you change it for another one worth 300 quid more. You've got to be at that level when you're really looking at things. It's surprising how many of these bikes though you see that you watch them and chains hanging down. You can see pads are nearly there. You can see the tram lines on the discs. You know for a fact when you walk past it, you've got loads of play. And they really have had some hammer, yet they're still going. But the idea is that, you know, you can maintain a lot of it yourself. And I often wonder this question. It's like when people bring stuff for restore. Well, one, they haven't got a workshop full of state-of-the-art equipment for restoring bikes. The other, they might not have the facility. You know, and the last one where I said they're all busy working, I know some really good competent guys. And I don't even think they take it in, and they'll probably just get a tyre, and while you're there, can you drop the oil, check the water level, and just have a quick look round it for me. More like a PDI. So yes, I hope that's a few things. I say we started servicing a few more bikes. Again, we're in Scarborough, North Yorkshire, but I seem to be getting a little bit from the outskirts coming in. Just had one guy in on Monday. We're on Thursday now, and he brought it back of the bike and the van, and the actual well, if you just where the bolts go on, they're on an Allen key and then onto the bolts. And what actually happened is, on here, they've all stripped because someone's been trying to get them off, and they've stripped them. And then on the back of the hub, it was actually cracked in here. So that's a wheel stripped down and a new hub, because eventually it's just going to go. But I saw the sprocket what was on it, and the sprocket was fully hooked. The chain was tight to compensate for a clicking noise, and luckily he's seen a second-hand hub, so we can get that laced up, new sprockets on it. But that's the kind of thing, when you go and look at one of these, just don't be your excitement of buying it, but just put the brakes on and have a good, literally put the brakes on as well when you try it. There's now worse than a back brake soft, and you can see everything's been off before, because some of these are a pig to bleed out. You get away with 9, and the 10th one, it can be a nightmare. They're only a short run, so you can back bleed them or feed it back down, but can catch the best out at bleeding brakes. There's now worse. You'll have done it at home yourself if you've had a go. You know, you think a simple bleed off, but you're trying to get the pressure back on the pedal. So yeah, Scarborough, North Yorkshire, 01723 370399, powder coaters, Cerakotas, ceramic coating, soda blasting, metal polishers, vapour blasting and restoration. And now we've just opened the doors more for bike servicing. There's a 300 beater in there, 4-stroke factory bike. One of our own you'd have seen on a video. This is the one that had only been stood for 6 months, and you saw on the video the carburettor was just like treacle inside of it. So got that up and running. New petrol tap, it actually splayed the petrol tap. So modern fuel again, leaving in your bikes, you see. And this is the thing, these carburettors, they only need a bit of crap in them, and they're going. If you're a bit of a novice and you've not got yet to the point of cleaning your carb down and stripping it down, it's only basic. I'll do one on carburettors. I'll be doing a video on my CBX 1006s, so 6 carburettors, banks there, so I'll be doing some work to them and some polishing and lacquering them with a ceramic coating. So basically on Charles bikes, as I say, you know, we've got a service here. We're always busy on everything in the workshop, but I think the best way to look at it is, if you bought a bike or you're thinking of buying a bike, we'll give it the magic quarter of an hour for you free of charge, and give you an idea what you should spend on or what you can save your money on. Like this gent with tyres, you know, he's just going to ride it and have a bit of fun. It'll get him over this season. He'll get fun out of his bike. 300, really a biggish bike for somebody who's not into these kind of modern powerhouses, because they do go. But to be fair, the 300 2-stroke is a lovely tame bike. It's very good. But who knows, all these wicked bikes, 80 to 100 hours running, might be down on compression on the piston rings, and it might have just tamed itself off a little bit more. But it runs lovely, rides lovely. If it were me, I'm just doing what I'm doing, plug, checking the fan, oil, set of pads in rear, adjusting the chain, giving it a quick check over, and ride it and enjoy it. But if you want that magic quarter of an hour from me, if you're thinking of buying a bike off a friend and I'll let you bring it in, or otherwise you can have what you want doing to them, from full engine rebuilds and even doing crankshaft rod kits and balancing of the cranks. They're done outside, but I get the rods in. It's the only thing really we do source out. But anything on your single cylinders, let us know. So Scarborough 1723 370 399, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.